Let's go ahead and give out our letter grades. So let's start with the offense first. Ohio State had 316 total yards of offense, 201 passing, 115 rushing. 5.7 yards per play was slightly under our average, but still pretty good for what was considered I believe, the third or
Third
fourth
best.
best, third best defense in the Big Ten. 14 first downs. They actually got more first downs than we did in the game, but we made ours count. 4 of 11 on third down. Again, not great. Fourth down, 2 of 3, pretty good. And let's see here. We had 8 penalties for 58 yards,
Ugh.
one turnover, and time of possession was 29 minutes and 20 seconds. Your offensive letter grade, Chris.
I, I'm torn between A minus and B plus. I'm going to go B plus.
Okay.
I think there's improvements. There's areas where we can make improvements. Uh, it's we had a turnover. It's hard to fault Will for that turnover. It really is. I don't think that was his fault, but he still gets credit for it. Um, we had a few penalties. Um, Otherwise, I think a very solid game. So I'm gonna go B plus.
I'm going negative. I'm going B minus on this one. Uh, they got held on 4th and goal on the goal line stand. The it's I agree it's not on Will, but the pick because Thurman threw it up in the air for the second. I mean, also those are two lost opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
The run game struggled quite a bit. I'm not saying that I understand Indiana's got a good run defense, but still, I mean, and we had a new makeshift offensive line that actually did pretty well considering the circumstances. I'll give them that. Uh, Emeka had a great game. Will Howard had an overall really good game. Trevian Henderson continues to just shine in the limited opportunities he gets. Um, but and Carnell Tate again keep building off of his recent success. He's becoming a major threat down the stretch here, but they still make too many mistakes. So I gave them a B minus because I think they should have played a little better than that and not shot themselves in the foot a few times. Although I'll give them credit, 3rd and 35 and they get a first down. So I won't say it was all bad, but I'm going B minus. I was just there's mistakes that were upsetting.
I'm gonna go A minus. I'm gonna be Mr. Positivity tonight. That defense again, and this is kind of, you could call it grading on a curve a little bit. In my prediction I said 24 points, and I was right. 20 was going to win it. I thought if we could get in the 20s we would win it. But they did that and more some, and so and listen, you guys are probably right. It probably was a B plus type of B to B plus type of offensive performance statistically, given the fact of some of the misses we had on the offense. Again, however, punching it in on the end like that and being a boss, it
And,
shoots me into the A category. So I'll go A minus.
and Eric, this is probably the most impressive thing about the whole thing. They only no sacks given up by this makeshift offensive line. Only 3 tackles for loss, and I can think of at least 2 of those situations where it was a bad play call that set up the tackle for loss. Not so much anything that was execution wise to blame.
Yeah, Chip Kelly kind of scratched my head a few times on some of the play calls. I would like to know, kind of get in his head a little bit, and figure out what he was thinking at some points in the game. But
Fourth
it,
down
it
and goal. Yeah, I'd love to know what he was thinking there.
Why we
uh,
didn't do the tush push?
Yeah,
yeah,
we
tush.
did
I
that.
mean, tush push has been auto first down all year. Like, they can't. No one stopped it. But Adam Dowling with a 4.99 super chat. Adam's our resident Notre Dame fan. They had a big win again in Army, and he obviously is a Buckeye this weekend. Run it up Saturday, he says. I think most of America feels that way. Most of
Yeah,
And
America.
yet most of the Michigan fan base claims that everybody hates us. So I'm like, I don't think it's us they hate, guys.
Yeah. Uh, Candace says A plus for Will Howard. Yeah. So big day for him. And I don't know what Ghoster is approving of, but I approve of your approving of me. Thank you. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Let me run through those stats real fast. Indiana finished with only 151 total yards, and they got almost half of that on the first drive, mind you. 68 passing yards, only 68 passing yards on the game, 83 rushing yards, and again, they got a big chunk of that on their second touchdown drive. 2.6 yards per game, 16 first downs, 6 of 14 on third downs, 1 of 2 on fourth downs. They had 3 penalties for 15 yards. They did lose. They had a fumble lost, and they possessed the ball for 30 minutes and 40 seconds. Your defensive letter grade, Chris, go.
This was an A-plus performance after the first quarter. I got to dock them a little bit for that first quarter. I'm going to go with an A. I do think they played extremely well. I mean, you look at this. This was a defensive performance of monumental proportions. This was a top 5 offense in the country, and Ohio State did not give up more than 80 yards, either passing or rushing. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal on defense. I still have to hold that first quarter against them, so I can only give them an A. But man, after that first quarter, this defense was playing at a national championship level without a doubt.
Yeah, I give him an A as well. I got a knock up for the first drive. That was frustrating, but after the first drive, it was kind of ridiculous. This is I want to put up a stat here that Dan Dibjak put up. Indiana had the ball for almost 9 minutes in the second quarter and netted 0 yards.
Mhm.
That's bonkers.
How's
That
that even possible?
all the sacks, I guess we were having on the time, and tackles for losses and stuff. We had 8 tackles for losses and 5 sacks. Other than that first drive, this was one of the most elite defensive performances you could ever watch. It was ridiculous. They dominated. Indiana could do nothing. Anything they tried, they could do nothing. And it wasn't until we allowed them to run clock on the second score on that drive that we just were fine with them running clock. And they ran a ton of clock on their second touchdown. I Jim Knowles, take a bow. Take your flowers on that one because that was a masterpiece.
Yeah, and if we had special teams, Ryan Daysbeard, you're absolutely right. Special teams is an A plus. Oh my gosh! If you guys, thank you for posting that, Cory. The reaction to Caleb Downs' punt return for a touchdown.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to take that and make that into a YouTube short, because what's funny is I watched that. I'm a play behind you guys, right? And you guys are all celebrating. Cory's going 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 50. Oh, wait, he could go. And I'm going, yeah! I haven't even seen the play yet. Oh my gosh, didn't that feel so good?
That's why the reaction.
2014.
Oh my,
That
10
was the last.
years.
But here's the funny part. Did you see that Ted Ginn Jr. predicted it before the game?
I was gonna get there for that. Yeah, Ted Ginn Jr., who was the stud special teams returner in Ohio State and into the NFL. They asked him, and if he had a crazy prediction, and he was like, "Yeah, we're gonna return one today," and he absolutely nailed it. Yeah, okay. Hummus Hero has a great question. Better spin move, Caleb Downs or Braxton Miller?
I
I'll
got
still go with Braxton.
Braxton. Yeah, that was pretty legendary at the time.
Caleb's was good, but
yeah, Downs was a good one. There's no question about that. But Braxton was like push the B button on the controller.
Tally says we only get one every 10 years. That's why everyone went wild. Ryan Day said that play was the loudest he ever heard Ohio Stadium since he's been there.
Yeah, because we were waiting for that. It was built pent up in us for 10 years, waiting for that moment.
Yeah, exactly.